Bear Grylls, but I'm his wife, Shara. And today I'm going to be assessing if I can live in the wild as well as my husband can. In order to do this, we're going to use the Milwaukee Evaluation of Daily Living Skills. Alright, so this assessment looks at adults who are 18 years and older who have a chronic mental health condition for 2 years or longer and have been in a community-based or a skilled facility for 6 months or longer. To do this, you're going to need the handbook, the procedure list, the screening and scoring sheets, an extensive amount of the client's everyday items, and lastly, different pictures that show different situations and conditions. Alright, so there are a total of 20 subtests, but today I'm only going to do 2, and those are community safety and eating. So we're going to go ahead and get started on those 2 subtests here in a minute. But before, just some information about test administration. So the test is based on a lot of direct observation of the client, and then everything is rated on a 0 to 4, 5, or 6 scale. 0 being that you couldn't do any of the task, 4, 5, or 6 being that you could do all of the tasks depending on if there was 4 skills, 5 skills, or 6 skills. So as I scavenge for berries, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you guys about some strengths and weaknesses. So the strengths of the assessment include that it assesses how cognitive deficits affect functional abilities and disabilities. It also is going to not be impacted by age, race, gender, education, or psychotic symptoms. And lastly, it does have a table of adaptations on how the test can be adapted to different situations. Alright, and some weaknesses of this assessment are that it can take up to 2 hours to do, and a lot of people don't have that time with their patients. Also, it can cost up to $400 for the test booklet and materials. And lastly, the test has not been updated since around 1988. So there may be some disadvantages there as far as being outdated. Look at this, guys. Fresh raspberries. Wow. Awesome. Already washed and everything. Great. We also have fresh water from the creek that was filtered. So I would get a 6 out of 6 on that first subtest we did. So moving on. Okay, so the next thing we're going to assess is community safety. Now normally with a client you would just ask them different scenarios and they would have to answer correctly. But because we're out in the wild, we're going to use a real life scenario. And I'm going to try to safely stay away from a bear. Okay, so the sea bear circle didn't work. There's a bear and it's very real. It's coming at us. Okay, so unfortunately that sea bear circle did not work out like I was hoping it did. Luckily we were able to get away from the bear successfully, but I still received a 0 out of 4 on that assessment. Okay, so now that I'm back inside, I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit about this test and how it affects occupational therapy. So this is a valid and reliable assessment for OTs to use, and it also analyzes performance in very specific ADLs and IADLs, which can be very helpful when creating an occupational profile and when trying to create client-centered goals. This also can help with creating goals centered around cognition. This test specifically looks at communication, money management, personal care, clothing care, safety in the home and community, medication management, telephone use, transportation, and time management. These go into areas of ADLs and IADLs, as well as client factors such as body structures and functions, and the client's processing skills and social interaction skills during tasks. Their performance patterns and daily routines are also looked at, as well as habits, and lastly, their virtual, social, and physical environments are also evaluated. Alright guys, that's all I have for you today, and I promise next time Bear Grylls will be back. Cheers!